I woke up at 3 in the morning and found that I had taken 74 photographs. My phone was in my hand. The camera app was open. And in my photo library, 74 pictures had been taken between 2:13 and 2:58 in the morning, while I was asleep. My name is Mia. I was 27 years old, living alone in a small apartment on the 5th floor, and I had never sleepwalked. Not once in 27 years of my life. I sat up in bed, heart hammering, and began to scroll through the photos. The first 15 were of the ceiling, dark and blurred, taken from the angle of someone lying on their back looking straight up. I recognized the yellowish water stain in the corner that I had been meaning to report to my landlord for months. Normal. Nothing unusual. The 16th photo was of the bedroom door. Also normal. The familiar wooden door, left slightly ajar the way I kept it every night. But I paused on this one longer than the others, because the light coming through the gap looked different. Warmer. More amber. Whereas the hallway light in my apartment was a cold, clean white. Kept scrolling. The next photos were of the hallway. Darker but light enough to see. Someone, technically me since the phone had been in my hand, had walked out of the bedroom and stood in the middle of the hall photographing the kitchen. Normal. Then the living room. Normal. Then the window overlooking the street below. I stopped at the series of photos taken through the window. Someone was standing on the sidewalk below. 5th floor, looking straight down, close to 2:30 in the morning. But the image was clear enough to make out a figure standing completely still, looking up at the building. Not moving, just standing. I zoomed in. The person was wearing dark clothing and their face was indistinct in the angle and the weak amber glow of the streetlight. But there was one thing that made me stare at the screen and unable to look away. The person was looking directly into the lens. Not looking up at the building in general. Directly into my camera lens. As though they knew exactly where I was, which window, which angle, what I was pointing the phone at. 2:30 in the morning. While I was asleep. Put the phone down. I looked out the window. The sidewalk below was empty. I picked the phone back up and kept scrolling, my hands slightly unsteady. The photos after the window showed the hallway again. Then the bedroom. Then I stopped. Photo number 51. It was a shot of the mirror in my bedroom. The floor-length mirror I had bought when I first moved in, standing beside the wardrobe. In the photo, the mirror reflected the room back. The bed, the small bedside lamp, the corner of the vanity table. And in the mirror, on the bed, someone was asleep. I looked again. The person lying in the bed was me. I recognized my hair. Recognized the blue sleep shirt I had been wearing that night. But if I was lying asleep on the bed, then who was standing in the middle of the room holding the phone up to photograph the mirror? I walked through that logic 3 times. In the photo, I was asleep on the bed. The photo had been taken from the angle of someone standing in the center of the room, pointing the camera at the mirror. The phone had been in my hand when I woke up, which meant there had been 2 people in the room. I jumped out of bed, turned on every light, threw open every door, and checked every corner of the apartment. No one. The front door was still locked from the inside with a security bolt, the kind that could only be engaged from within. Windows closed. Balcony locked. There was no way for anyone to have entered and left without breaking a lock. I sat in the middle of the living room with all the lights blazing and kept scrolling through the photos. The remaining 23 were shots of the bed again, the ceiling, and then the final one. Photo 74. Selfie. Taken with an outstretched arm. The angle from above, the way people take photos of themselves. The background was the ceiling of my bedroom. But the person in the photo was not me. It was me, same face, same hair, same blue sleep shirt. But the eyes looking into the lens held an expression I can't describe more precisely than this. It was not the gaze of someone who was alive. I threw the phone onto the sofa. I curled up in the corner of the living room until daylight, not daring to go back into the bedroom, not daring to look at a mirror, not daring to touch the phone. In the morning I called my closest friend, a woman named Sophie. I told her everything. Sophie listened in silence and then said she wanted to see the photos. Open my phone. The photo library was empty. Not just the 74 photos deleted. The entire library. Every photo I owned from 3 years of my life, from trips, from friends' birthdays, from lazy afternoons. Gone. The phone's storage was blank as a new device. Except for one thing. One single photo remained in the library. The selfie. Photo 74. My face. Empty eyes. The bedroom ceiling behind it. And this time, when I looked more carefully at the background, at the familiar ceiling of my own bedroom, I realized there was something else in the photo that I hadn't noticed the night before. Behind the figure in the photo, up on the ceiling, there was a shadow, bent downward, looking. I showed the photo to Sophie. She studied it for a moment and then asked me when it was taken. I looked at the photo's timestamp. Read today. This morning. While I had been sitting in the living room, too afraid to go back into the bedroom, calling Sophie. The photo had been taken at 6:47 in the morning, while the phone was lying on the sofa, and no one had touched it.